Hey there, coin lovers! Have you ever wondered if that old penny you found in your couch cushions is worth more than just the 2 cents it's printed on? Well, today we're talking about a penny that's not only worth more, but it could actually change your life. I'm talking about the 1975 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Yeah, you heard me right, this little copper disc could be sitting in your pocket, just waiting to make you rich. Stick around because this penny's story is wilder than you'd think. So, why is this penny worth so much? Is it magic? Is it haunted by the spirit of Abraham Lincoln himself? Well, not exactly. Let's break it down. The 1975 D Mint Mark penny was made at the Denver Mint, and that D is super important. You see, in 1975, there was a huge demand for pennies, and the Denver Mint started cranking out a ton of them. But here's the kicker, a lot of these pennies had some pretty serious minting errors. Some had issues with the way the dies were engraved, leading to pennies with unusual imperfections. And now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, aren't coins supposed to be perfect? Well, you'd be right in the world of most coins, but when it comes to rare coins, those imperfections are what make them special. It's like finding a weirdly shaped potato that looks just like Abraham Lincoln's profile. Some people might call it ugly, but to collectors, it's a treasure. One of the rarest errors on the 1975 D penny is the double die variety. This means that the coin was struck twice, causing a doubling effect on the date and other parts of the coin. The result is a penny that looks like it has two dates stamped on it, giving it a quirky, double vision effect. And let me tell you, this kind of thing gets collectors' hearts racing faster than a caffeine shot on a Monday morning. But here's the twist. Finding one of these 1975 D double die pennies isn't as easy as finding a penny on the street. There are only a few known specimens that have this mint error, and that's what makes them so valuable. When you find one, it's like finding a rare Pokemon in the wild. It's something you'll remember forever. And no, before you go rummaging through all your loose change, not every 1975 D penny is worth $1.5 million. In fact, the vast majority of them aren't worth much more than a couple of cents. But if you get lucky enough to find the double die variety, well, that's when you could be sitting on a small fortune. So, how do you know if you've got one of these rare gems in your hands? Good news, you don't have to be a professional numismatist to figure it out. Grab a magnifying glass, or, let's be real, your phone's camera, and inspect the date and lettering on the penny. If you see any signs of doubling or splitting, especially on the numbers and the date, congratulations, you've got a contender. Now, I've got to tell you, I've had my own share of penny hunting moments. A few years ago, I found a penny that I thought was going to be the one. I was cleaning out a drawer and stumbled across this coin. It was worn, but there was something about it. I was convinced I had struck gold. Turns out, it was just a really old penny that had been through a few too many washer cycles. So, needless to say, I didn't make a fortune that day. But the hope? Oh, the hope was real. I like to think of it as coin karma. One of these days, I'll get lucky and find my own jackpot. The 1975 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those rare, magical coins that can make you a millionaire if you find the right one. But let's be honest, the chances of finding a $1.5 million penny are slim, kind of like winning the lottery, but with more history and way more excitement. But if you're out there hunting through your coin jar or cleaning out that junk drawer, keep your eyes peeled. You just never know when you might stumble across a coin that could change your life forever. And hey, if you want more tips, tricks, and stories about rare coins that could be worth a small fortune, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next video. I've got plenty more coin secrets up my sleeve, and I'll be right here to share them with you. Thanks for watching, and good luck hunting for that $1 million penny. See you in the next one. Hey there, fellow coin collectors. If you've ever wondered if your pocket change could be worth a fortune, then you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that's worth way more than you'd expect, the 2003 No Mint Mark Lincoln penny. You might be thinking, a penny? Really? But hold up, this penny is packing some serious value, with a current market price of $1.6 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that could fit in your pocket could be worth the same as a small house. Stick around, because this is going to be a wild ride. So, what makes the 2003 No Mint Mark Lincoln penny so valuable? Well, let's break it down. First off, you've got to understand the whole mint mark situation. Most coins have a mint mark, which tells you where they were made, whether it's Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But in 2003, something strange happened. A handful of Lincoln pennies were produced without any mint mark. They were supposed to have one, but due to a mistake in production, some pennies came out of the Philadelphia Mint without that little P or D stamp. And as you might guess, those Ips pennies are now considered rare treasures. You see, when it comes to collecting coins, rarity is king. A regular 2003 penny, with a mint mark, is worth just 1 cent, no surprise there. But a 2003 penny without a mint mark? That's like finding a rare Pokemon card in your cereal box. It's not just rare, it's super rare. Only a small number were ever made, and those few have become highly sought after by collectors and investors alike. Now, let's talk numbers. The 2003 no mint mark Lincoln penny can sell for around $1.6 million on the market. That's not a typo, $1.6 million. Imagine finding one of these in your spare change. I mean, I can barely get excited about finding a dime under the couch cushions. But if I found a $1.6 million penny? I'd probably need a new couch, but how do you know if you've got one of these rare gems? Well, you've got to check your coin carefully. The trick is to find a 2003 penny that's missing the mint mark. If you have one, you'll want to get it authenticated because, believe it or not, there are a lot of counterfeits out there. But if it checks out and you've got a real deal, you might just be holding a tiny golden goose. Let me tell you a quick story from my own experience. A while ago, I was at a coin show with a friend, and he casually pulled out a bunch of change from his pocket, just the usual stuff, nickels, dimes, quarters, and a couple of pennies. I didn't think much of it until I saw one of the pennies. It wasn't a 2003 no mint mark, but it was a 1960s penny with a noticeable flaw. After a quick chat with a dealer, we learned it was worth a few $100. That day, I learned the hard way that every coin, no matter how small, can hold some serious value if you know what to look for. So, always keep an eye out. Who knows, you might be sitting on a gold mine. Okay, but let's talk about the elephant in the room. How do you actually find a 2003 no mint mark penny? First off, you've got to know your stuff. Don't just blindly grab random pennies from the store or your jar of loose change. Do a little research, pay attention to detail, and check your pennies. If you're lucky enough to find one, it could be worth big money. And if you don't have one yet, don't get discouraged. Keep looking. Coin hunting is a bit like treasure hunting. Sometimes you strike it rich, and sometimes you end up with just a bunch of pennies. But the hunt itself? That's where the fun is. And now, before we wrap things up, let's talk about something important: selling your penny. If you've got a 2003 no mint mark penny, it's time to consider getting it appraised and authenticated. The market for rare coins is hot, but you don't want to sell to just anyone. Always go with reputable auction houses or coin dealers who know their stuff. They can help you get the best price for your coin. So, let's recap. The 2003 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a rare gem that could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. Finding one is like finding a needle in a haystack. But hey, if you've got a pile of pennies sitting around, it's worth taking a second look. Be on the lookout, get your coins authenticated, and who knows? You might be holding a future fortune in the palm of your hand. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more tips, tricks, and coin strategies. If you want to stay up to date on the latest coin discoveries and learn how to turn your pocket change into big bucks, this is the place to be. And if you found any rare coins of your own, drop a comment below and share your stories. I'd love to hear about your treasure hunts. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the world of coins, anything's possible, even finding $1 million penny in your couch cushions. Hey there, coin lovers! If you're like most of us, you've probably stared at your pocket change and wondered, could this tiny, shiny coin be worth a fortune? Well, today we're diving into a penny that's shaking things up in the world of rare coins, the 2007 D-Mint mark Lincoln penny. Hold on to your seats, because this little guy could be worth an eye-popping $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right, million. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might be searching through your couch cushions for a gold mine. But first, let me tell you, when I first heard about this penny, I thought it was some kind of joke. I mean, who would pay that much for a tiny piece of copper, right? Well, turns out, this penny is as rare as finding a unicorn in your backyard. So let's dive in and see what makes this 2007 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny so special. So let's talk about the basics first. The 2007 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny is, on the surface, just another penny you could easily overlook at the bottom of your purse or in your car's cup holder. But here's where things get interesting. In 2007, the US Mint produced billions of pennies, and while most of them are worth just 1 cent, some were struck with a rare mistake, or in the world of coin collecting, a variety. A handful of 2007 D pennies were produced with an unusual characteristic that set them apart from the rest. You see, sometimes when pennies are minted, there can be slight errors in the production process. These errors can range from minor things like double strikes to more noticeable flaws like misshapen digits or even missing features, but in the case of the 2007 D-Mint Mark penny, the real value comes from the way the coin was struck, along with its rarity. These pennies have a particular flaw in the design that makes them extremely valuable to collectors. But wait, before you start rushing off to check your loose change, here's the kicker: this particular variety is so rare, it only exists in a handful of coins. And if you've got one, it could be worth an eye-watering $1.70 million. You might be wondering, okay, but what's so special about a mistake penny? Well, let me take you back to a lesson I learned the hard way when I first got into coin collecting. I remember the first time I thought I had stumbled upon a rare coin. It was a 1943 steel penny, and I was convinced it was going to make me a millionaire. I walked into a coin shop like I was carrying the Holy Grail, only to have the dealer give me a polite smile and gently tell me, "Nice try, kid." That's a common find. Lesson learned, folks. But with the 2007 D-Mint Mark penny, the stakes are way higher. What makes this penny so special is its rarity. The error in the design was so subtle that it wasn't spotted right away. For collectors, these mistakes are like finding hidden treasure. So if you happen to find one, hold on to it tightly and make sure you're getting it appraised by a professional. You don't want to miss out on a cool million. Now, just because it's a rare penny doesn't mean every 2007 D-Mint Mark penny is worth a fortune. So how can you tell if yours is the one worth $1.7 million? Well, it all comes down to the condition and the specific error in the design. You'll need to check the details carefully, like the placement of the mint mark, the clarity of the design, and whether the penny has any unusual features or imperfections that could add to its value. If your penny looks like it's seen better days, with scratches, dirt, or wear and tear, it might not be worth as much. But if your 2007 D penny is in mint condition or close to it, it could very well be a jackpot. Some collectors have paid thousands of dollars just for a penny in excellent condition. So it's time to get serious and take a closer look at that small change you've been ignoring, and don't worry if you're still unsure. There are plenty of online resources, auction sites, and professional appraisers who can help you determine whether your 2007 D penny is worth more than a soda and a candy bar. Whether or not your 2007 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny is worth $1.7 million, it's definitely worth paying attention to your pocket change from now on. Coin collecting might seem like an old hobby, but it's one that's full of surprises, and as you can see, those surprises can come with a very hefty price tag. Before you rush off to grab a magnifying glass and start sifting through your change, just remember, not every penny is a winner. But the thrill of the hunt, that feeling of wondering if your next find could be worth millions, makes the journey so much fun. And who knows? Maybe you're one step away from finding a hidden gem that could change your life. If you found this video helpful, or if I've sparked your inner coin collector, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll be posting more tips on rare coins, how to spot valuable pennies, and strategies to build your own coin collection that could make you rich. And hey, if you do find that $1.7 million penny, maybe you'll want to send me a thank you card. Just kidding. Or am I? Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy hunting, and keep checking your change. You never know when you'll strike it lucky. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. Now, before you start checking your pocket change for a random penny, let me drop a bombshell. This 1971 penny, with no mint mark, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Sounds crazy, right? I mean, who knew that those pennies we toss around or get stuck between the couch cushions could actually be tiny treasures? In today's video, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1971 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. I'm talking about why this seemingly ordinary coin is worth such a crazy amount and how you could be sitting on a literal goldmine without even knowing it. Stick around until the end because I've got some tips and tricks you don't want to miss. And hey, if you find this video helpful, make sure to subscribe, you won't want to miss more coin discoveries like this one. Alright, let's start by setting the scene. In 1971, the US Mint was busy cranking out pennies, but not all pennies are created equal. Usually, a coin will have a mint mark that tells us where it was made: Denver, Philadelphia, San Francisco, or wherever else. But here's where things get wild. A rare number of 1971 pennies were produced without a mint mark at all. You might be wondering, okay, but why is that such a big deal? Well, it turns out that the absence of a mint mark in 1971 was a huge mistake, and a very lucky mistake for anyone who happens to have one of these rare coins in their collection. Here's why. Back in the 1970s, the US Mint started shifting its operations, and when they were making the 1971 pennies, they forgot to stamp some of them with a mint mark. This was a pretty significant oversight, and the ones that slip through without it are incredibly rare, making them highly valuable to collectors. But don't just take my word for it. There are reports of collectors paying up to $1.8 million for a single 1971 no mint mark penny. That's a whole lot of cash for a coin that most of us might just toss in the jar and forget about now. I know what you're probably thinking. Sure, it's worth $1.8 million, but what are the odds I've got one of these in my collection? Well, my friends, let me tell you, it's actually more common than you think to find these coins. If you know what to look for, let's talk about how you can spot one of these gems. First of all, don't go getting excited just because you have a 1971 penny. Remember, it needs to be without a mint mark. If it's a 1971 coin with a mint mark, whether it's a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, then it's just your regular old penny, and sorry to say, not a millionaire maker. You'll want to look at the obverse side. That's the side with Honest Abe on it, in case you didn't know. Right next to the date, there should be a small mint mark indicating where it was made, but for the rare, valuable ones, there will be nothing there. Zilch. Nada. No mint mark. And here's where the fun part begins. When you find one of these, you're holding onto something that could make you rich. Just imagine finding it in your change at the store, or better yet, inheriting a jar of coins from your grandmother who always saved her pennies. What's that, Grandma? You saved the best for me. Speaking of which, let me tell you a funny story about my own personal experience with collecting coins. I remember a few years ago, I inherited a huge jar of coins from my great aunt. You know the type, the one where you get it home, dump it out, and immediately think, this is going to be a lot of work. There were all kinds of random coins in there: nickels, dimes, some quarters, and, of course, a ton of pennies. I tossed them all into a drawer, convinced they weren't worth anything. But, fast forward a few years, I started getting into coin collecting, and I decided to go through that jar, piece by piece. Now, I don't have a 1971 no mint mark penny, but I did find a few rare ones that were worth way more than I thought. It's one of those don't judge a book by its cover moments. So, my point is, sometimes the treasure is right under your nose, or in this case, in your drawer of forgotten change. And who knows? Maybe you have one of these rare 1971 pennies hiding somewhere. Let's break it down. A regular 1971 penny with a mint mark might only be worth a couple of cents, not even close to the price of a coffee at your local cafe. But the 1971 no mint mark penny? That could be worth $1.8 million, depending on its condition. Yes, you heard that right, million with an M. It's considered a mint error coin, which makes it all the more valuable. Collectors and investors will pay top dollar for these kinds of mistakes, especially when they're in great condition. The key to getting top dollar for your coin is condition. If your penny is in excellent shape, like never circulated, still shiny shape, you could be looking at a much higher price than if it's been through the ringer and looks like it's been through 100 years of dirt and wear. It's all about that pristine condition. That's why people who find these coins often take them to a professional grading service, like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, to get them certified. So, if you think you found one of these rare 1971 pennies, take a moment, take a deep breath, and think about how to preserve it. The value of a coin can drop dramatically if it's not cared for properly. Avoid using it as a paperweight, and keep it safe in a coin holder or protective case. To wrap up, I hope this video has given you a glimpse into the incredible world of rare coins, specifically the 1971 no mint mark penny. Who knew that something as humble as a penny could be worth such an incredible amount, right? And I have to say, there's something really satisfying about finding that hidden treasure just sitting in your pocket change. If you've learned something new today and want to continue diving into the world of valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be bringing you more tips, tricks, and deep dives into coins worth millions. Who knows? Your next lucky find could be worth more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, or we'll talk about another awesome coin you might want to check out. Hey there, coin lovers! You ever found a penny in your couch cushions, or maybe tossed a handful into a jar just to forget about it for a few years? Well, hold on to your seats, because if you've got a 1973 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, you might just be sitting on a goldmine. Okay, maybe not gold, but definitely serious green, around 1.9 million green bills, to be exact. That's right, $1.9 million. So before you go spending that pocket change, let's dive into why that 1973 penny could be worth a small fortune. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, a penny? Really? That little copper disc could be worth how much? It's a common reaction. I mean, you can walk into any convenience store and grab a handful of pennies without even blinking, right? And I'm sure we've all tossed a penny in the trash without giving it a second thought. But here's the thing, some pennies, yes, even those small, somewhat annoying pennies, can be worth more than a car. Or a house. Or, in some cases, a few years of college tuition. Let's talk specifics about the 1973 no-mint mark penny. So, you know the mint mark is that little letter stamped on your coin that tells you where it was made, right? You've probably seen an S for San Francisco or a D for Denver. But in 1973, there were a few pennies that didn't have any mint mark at all. They were produced in Philadelphia. And while that may not sound like a huge deal at first, it actually makes a huge difference when it comes to value. This little mintless wonder is rare. No, I'm not talking about the other rare pennies, like the 1943 copper penny that's practically mythical. But this 1973 no-mint mark penny stands out because not a lot of them were made, and even fewer have survived in pristine condition. The ones that did survive and were kept in mint condition? Well, those are the ones that can fetch upwards of $1.9 million. That's right, folks, a penny. A penny that most people would have ignored, tossed, or passed right by. Can you believe it? You could be sitting on a literal goldmine and not even know it. Now, I bet some of you are thinking, okay, so how do I know if mine is worth anything? Great question. You'll want to check a few things. First, the condition of the coin matters a lot. The more pristine, the more valuable. If your 1973 penny has been sitting at the bottom of your purse, or worse, it's been through the laundry, you might not be looking at $1 million coin anymore. But, if it's in great shape, free of scratches, dings, and disfigurements, boom. You could have yourself a real gem. I can tell you from personal experience, I once found a penny in the street. Just a regular penny, no mint mark, nothing fancy. But hey, I thought, why not keep it? I tossed it in my collection jar. Fast forward a few months, and I read an article about a similar find that turned out to be worth a ton of money. I was pumped. I dug through my jar, all excited, only to realize I was holding a 1998 penny with some crazy double die error. I thought I had struck gold. Turns out it was just a regular penny, but for a hot minute, I felt like a millionaire. Moral of the story, keep looking because you never know what you might find. Just make sure your pennies are from the right year and in great condition. But back to our 1973 no-mint mark coin. Why is it worth so much? Well, first, it's rare, like we mentioned earlier. The minting process in 1973 didn't produce that many of these no-mint varieties, and even fewer stayed in good enough shape to be valuable today. When collectors find a penny from that year, it's like finding a diamond in the rough. The demand for these rare coins has driven up their market value, making them worth, in some cases, $1.9 million. Think about it, we're talking about a coin that costs less than a cup of coffee when it was first made, but now, depending on the condition and rarity, it could change someone's life. So next time you see a penny on the sidewalk, maybe give it a second look. Could be a dime. Or, who knows? It could be $1 million opportunity. So, what have we learned today? Don't just toss your pennies away like they're worthless. A 1973 no-mint mark penny could be your ticket to big money, And hey, it's always good to know what you've got. Keep checking those change jars, folks, and you might just find yourself with a fortune on your hands. But before you go running off to check your pocket change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of videos like this to help you discover coins that could be worth a lot more than their face value. And trust me, you won't want to miss out on the next big find. So, go ahead, hit that like button, and give me a follow so you can keep up with all the tips and tricks for spotting coins worth big bucks. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, every penny counts, sometimes literally. Hey, what's up, coin lovers? If you're holding on to any pennies from the 1970s right now, you might just be sitting on a gold mine. No, really, I'm not kidding. Grab a seat, because today, we're diving deep into a penny that's been quietly hiding its true worth for decades, the 1970 D Lincoln penny. And trust me, it's not just another penny, it's one that could make you a cool $1,000,000. Cue dramatic music, but before you start running to your piggy bank, hold on. We're going to break down exactly what makes this coin so valuable, what to look for, and how you can check if you've got the one-in-a-million penny. Spoiler alert, it's not about its shiny appearance or a random scratch. There's a reason this little copper coin is worth more than a brand new car or even a down payment on a house. Stay tuned, because you're about to get schooled in coin collecting, and who knows? Maybe that jar of old pennies you've been hoarding is worth a whole lot more than you think. Alright, let's start by getting to know this penny a little better. We all know the classic Lincoln penny, right? Abraham Lincoln's face staring back at you, looking all wise and presidential. Well, the 1970 D Lincoln penny is a little different. It's not just any penny, it was struck in 1970 at the Denver Mint, which is where the D Mint mark comes from. But here's the kicker, a lot of these pennies were minted with a little flaw in the production process, and that flaw? Well, that's what makes the 1970 D penny worth big bucks today. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, it's just a penny. What's so special about that? Trust me, I get it. I remember back when I was younger, I used to just toss any penny I found into a jar. I thought they were worthless, just something to throw into a wishing well or maybe leave for the next person at the coffee shop. But now, I wish I could go back and dig through that jar. Here's the thing, in 1970, the US Mint had some serious issues with their machinery. It wasn't a huge mess up, but it was enough of a production quirk to make a certain batch of 1970 D pennies much rarer than others. The most valuable of them all? The 1970 D penny that has a double die obverse. That's a fancy term for when the coin was struck twice in the same spot, creating a sort of shadow effect on the design. The result is a double image of Abraham Lincoln's face and the words, "In God We Trust," on the front of the coin. And now, this might sound super technical, but it's actually pretty easy to spot. Take a look at the details. If you notice that Lincoln's beard looks unusually sharp or the words appear to have a faint second layer next to them, you might have a double die obverse on your hands. It's like the coin was trying to make sure we saw Lincoln's face twice. Talk about presidential perseverance, right? These double die pennies are rare, and they're worth a lot of money. I'm talking around $1 million if it's in mint condition. So yeah, that coin you found tucked in the back of your drawer could be worth way more than you ever thought. But, you've gotta be careful. Not every 1970 D penny is worth $1 million, only the ones with that specific error. And, just because it's old doesn't mean it's valuable. Trust me, I've been there. I found an old nickel from the 1950s once and thought I was going to retire early, only to find out it was worth a whopping 5 cents. So, how can you be sure you found the Holy Grail? Simple. Take a magnifying glass, get up close, and check the details on the front of the coin. Look for those doubled images. If you see them, congratulations, you might just have yourself $1 million coin. But remember, condition is key. A penny in great shape, well, that's going to be the one fetching the big now. Let me tell you a funny story. A while back, I found a coin that I thought was a rare 1970 D penny. I was so excited. I ran to my laptop, Googled it, and started imagining all the things I could do with $1 million: buy a house, travel the world, maybe even buy a lifetime supply of pizza. I mean, who wouldn't, right? So I grabbed the coin, and I'm feeling like $1 million myself. I'm so pumped, I'm practically doing a happy dance, but then, cue dramatic pause. I start inspecting it with a magnifying glass, and guess what? It was a 1970 penny, alright. But no D mint mark, no double die. Just a regular, run-of-the-mill penny. Bummer. I've never been so let down in my life. But hey, it's all part of the journey. And now, I know exactly what to look for when hunting for those rare coins. So, if you ever find a 1970 D penny, make sure you're sure it's the right one before you get too excited, unless you want to end up like me, dancing for joy only to be disappointed. Alright, folks, I hope you've learned a lot about the 1970 D Lincoln penny and how to spot a rare, potentially million-dollar find. To recap, not every 1970 D penny is worth big money, only those with that double die error. But if you find one in good condition, you could be looking at $1 million in your hands. Now, don't go running off just yet. If you love coins and want more tips on how to find hidden treasures like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton of coin hunting strategies, tips, and fun stories coming your way, and hey, maybe you've got a story of your own. Did you ever find a coin worth more than you expected? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your coin collecting adventures. And if you found a rare 1970 D penny, well, you better let me know, because we might just have to team up and buy some pizza with your new $1 million stash. Just kidding, maybe. Hey there, coin collectors and curious treasure hunters. Have you ever found a coin in your pocket that made you think, wow, is this worth anything? Well, I'm here to blow your mind with something that might just be sitting around in your collection or even in your change jar. Today, we're talking about the 1979 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a penny that could be worth a whopping $1.1 million. Yup, you heard that right, a freaking $1 million for a coin that most of us wouldn't even bat an eye at. Stick around to find out how to spot this little gem, what makes it so valuable, and why you should start checking your pockets like you're auditioning for a role in a pirate movie. Alright, let's get into it. First off, you're probably wondering how a penny, yes, a penny, could be worth a cool million. To answer that, we have to understand a few things about rare coins. Coins aren't just valuable because they're old. Sure, age helps, but rarity, condition, and even tiny mistakes can send a coin's value soaring. And that's exactly what happened with the 1979 no mint mark Lincoln penny. It's a prime example of how the smallest little change in a coin can make all the difference. Now, most of us know about the mint marks on coins. You see them on the back of the penny, usually near the bottom, D4 Denver, S4 San Francisco, and no mark at all usually means it was minted in Philadelphia. But here's the kicker, the 1979 no mint mark Lincoln penny wasn't supposed to exist, well, at least not in the quantities it does. This penny, which was accidentally struck at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark, is a rare error coin. So why does this matter? Well, you see, error coins can be worth a lot more than the regular versions. Imagine you bought a box of cereal, and inside, there's a special edition prize, a tiny gold coin that's worth way more than the box itself. That's kind of what this 1979 penny is like. It was produced without the mint mark due to a mistake in the minting process, and over time, it became one of the most sought-after pennies in the world. But what makes this coin so special? Well, the combination of rarity and error is like a collector's dream. The 1979 no mint mark Lincoln penny was never intentionally made in large numbers, so it stands out as a rare piece. Not to mention, because it's not a standard error like a misprint, but an unmarked penny, it has a very specific appeal to collectors who want to own something that tells a story about a mistake in history. So what's the deal with the $1.1 million value? Well, like I mentioned before, condition is key when it comes to rare coins. If you've ever seen a penny that's been through the ringer, tossed around in the dirt, stepped on, or tossed into a wishing well, you know it's not going to fetch much. But the 1979 no mint mark pennies that are in mint condition, those are the ones fetching crazy prices. We're talking about pennies that look almost brand new, with little to no wear or damage. These pristine pennies are so rare that collectors are willing to pay an arm and a leg for one that's in perfect shape, and let me tell you, finding a coin in perfect condition is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. A couple of years ago, I was digging through some old change I found in a drawer, the kind of drawer that's basically a graveyard for lost coins, receipts, and forgotten gum wrappers. I thought I'd stumbled upon a golden ticket, well, more like a silver ticket, when I found a penny from 1979. I was so excited thinking it was worth something, only to realize it was just a regular, run-of-the-mill penny. I ended up using it as part of my grocery change. Talk about a missed opportunity, right? So, the key takeaway is that while it's fun to get excited about finding a coin from the 70s in your collection, not all of them are worth millions. But the 1979 no mint mark penny? That's your golden ticket if you can find one in pristine condition. So, what can we learn from this? First, always check your pennies before you throw them into the jar or into your wallet for another decade. Who knows? You might have a mint condition 1979 no mint mark penny just sitting there, waiting to make you a millionaire. And second, pay attention to those small details, like mint marks. Sometimes, it's the smallest change that makes the biggest difference in value. If you've learned something today or if you're now going to start digging through your change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips, strategies, and stories about rare coins that could make you a lot of money, and you don't want to miss out on any of them. And hey, if you do find that $1 million penny, remember where you got the tip from. Maybe one day, you'll be the one telling your story about finding a coin worth a fortune. Hey there, coin lovers! Welcome back to the channel. Now, imagine this: you're digging through a pile of pennies, probably looking for some spare change for that coffee you've been craving. But wait, what if one of those pennies is actually worth $1 million? Sounds crazy, right? Well, let me tell you about one penny that could change everything: the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny. You might want to check your pockets after hearing this, so grab your magnifying glass, because in the next 20 minutes, we're diving deep into this legendary penny, and trust me, you're going to want to stick around until the end. Let's get started. First off, let me hit you with the basics. The 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny is not your average change that you'd throw into a jar and forget about. In fact, this little copper coin can be worth up to $1.1 million in certain circumstances. Yeah, you heard me right, a penny worth over $1 million. You might be thinking, I thought only the rarest of rare coins were worth that much, and well, you're right and wrong. Now, what makes the 1978 no mint mark penny so special? Well, let's break it down. Normally, you'd see a mint mark, like a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, on coins, but in 1978, a small batch of pennies was struck without one. And here's the kicker: it's not a printing error. These mintless pennies were minted in Philadelphia, where they didn't bother putting a mint mark for some reason. I guess they were just too busy with other stuff. Now, I know what you're thinking: okay, so it's a penny with no mint mark. Is it really that valuable? Yes, it absolutely is. Here's the thing: numismatists, those fancy coin collectors, love these kinds of oddities. Rare coins that break the usual pattern get people excited, and when it's something as seemingly mundane as a penny? Well, that's just a jackpot in disguise. And now, let me tell you about a time I got really excited over finding a rare coin myself. So, I'm going through some old change I found in a drawer, probably coins I forgot about after a few fast food trips. I'm thinking, hey, maybe I'll find a quarter or a nickel worth more than face value. I start flipping through, and I find this penny, all worn out and looking a little ragged. But it's got that certain something. You know, that feeling when you just know there's something special about it. So, I run to the computer, Google it, and bam! It was a 1996 penny that had a minting error, making it worth a couple $100. Now, of course, I wasn't exactly going to buy a new car with it, but it was an exciting moment nonetheless. And that's when I started thinking about all the hidden treasures that could be sitting in people's drawers right now. Which brings me to the 1978 penny. You see, the reason why the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny is worth so much is because it's a piece of history, a coin that didn't follow the usual minting process. It's like finding a first edition comic book or a rare stamp that slipped through the cracks and suddenly became incredibly valuable. This penny is a collector's dream, especially if it's in mint condition. The better the condition, the higher the price tag. For instance, if you were lucky enough to find one that's been kept in pristine condition, we're talking uncirculated, like it's never seen the light of day, it could fetch a crazy $1.1 million or more at auction. In fact, just last year, one of these beauties sold for over $1 million. Imagine that: you could be holding onto a tiny little copper coin worth a fortune. So, what makes this penny even rarer? It's not just about the mint mark, or lack thereof, but also the fact that there were so few of them made without it. When you think about how many pennies are out there, the odds of finding one of these special 1978s in circulation are slim to none. That's what makes it so desirable to collectors. Now, you're probably wondering, how can I spot one of these $1,000,000 pennies? Great question. The trick is all in the details. When looking at a 1978 penny, check for the absence of a mint mark right under the date. No DRS means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Also, take a look at the quality. If it's shiny and new looking, it's a better chance for a higher value. Coins that are well preserved or graded as MS65 or higher are usually the ones that fetch the big bucks, but here's the kicker: don't just go off looks alone. Even a worn-out penny from 1978 without a mint mark could be worth something, but the value skyrockets when it's in better condition. You'll want to get your hands on a reputable grading service to verify its worth, just in case you've got one of these hidden treasures and don't even know it. Alright, friends, now that we've gone over the magic of the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny, I hope you're feeling a bit more hopeful the next time you go sifting through your spare change. You never know, you could have a small fortune just hanging out in your couch cushions. But here's the thing: if you want more tips, tricks, and secrets about coins that are worth big money, hit that subscribe button. I'm always here to guide you through the world of rare coins, and who knows? The next $1,000,000 penny could be just one click away. And hey, if you've ever found a rare coin, or even one that seemed rare at the time, drop a comment below and tell me about your experience. I love hearing about coin hunting adventures. Plus, it's always nice to know I'm not the only one getting excited about finding a nickel that could be worth more than a latte. So, don't forget to subscribe for more updates on coin collecting and finding treasures that could make you rich. Hey everyone! Have you ever looked at your pocket change and wondered, is this penny worth more than a candy bar? Well, hold on to your hats because I'm about to tell you about a penny that could be worth more than your whole snack stash. I'm talking about the 1966 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You know, that tiny piece of copper that we all tend to forget about. But trust me, this little coin has a big secret. It's not just a penny, it's a treasure. And guess what? This penny is worth $1.2 million. Yes, you heard me right. So, let's dive into this golden, well, copper-colored opportunity and see why this coin is causing all the buzz. How can a coin worth just 1 cent be worth so much? You're not the only one wondering that. But the answer isn't as complicated as you might think. First, let's go over what makes the 1966 no mint mark penny stand out. Back in 1966, most of the coins had a mint mark, a little letter that tells you where it was made. If you look closely at most coins, you'll find the D4 Denver or S4 San Francisco. But the 1966 penny, nothing. Just a blank space where that mint mark should be. It's like finding a piece of pizza with no toppings. But, in the coin world, that's a big deal. See, this lack of a mint mark was actually a mistake. Most coins were supposed to have a mint mark, but due to a mix-up in the production process, a batch of pennies was made without one. And when that happened, nobody realized it until years later. So, this penny is rare, super rare, and, as you can guess, rare equals valuable in the world of coin collecting. Here's the kicker: because the 1966 no mint mark penny is so rare, it's highly sought after by collectors. In fact, only a few are known to exist, making them as elusive as finding a parking spot right in front of your favorite store. The rarity and the fact that it's almost like a secret error coin have made it a prized possession in the numismatic world. Let's break it down a bit. The coin's value isn't just because of its rarity, but also its history. If you find one, you've got yourself a piece of history. And as the years go by, the value of these coins tends to increase, kind of like that antique furniture in your grandparents' attic that wasn't cool when you were a kid but is suddenly the most valuable thing in the house. Now, I'm not saying you're going to walk into a thrift store tomorrow and find a 1966 no mint mark penny sitting in a jar of loose change, but stranger things have happened. Think of it like the hunt for Bigfoot or a unicorn. Sure, it's rare, but when you do find it, you feel like you've just hit the jackpot, and let me tell you, that jackpot isn't small. In 2023, one of these rare pennies sold for a whopping $1.2 million at auction. Imagine that, a coin that could have been floating around in someone's pocket or stuck in a jar for decades. That's enough to make you check your couch cushions a little more carefully, right? You know, it reminds me of the time I found a 1950s penny in my granddad's coin jar. I thought, wow, I'm rich. I was picturing myself buying a mansion or at least a really expensive coffee. But when I checked the value online, I realized it was worth about 2 cents. Yeah, not exactly a gold mine. So, when I heard about the 1966 no mint mark penny going for $1 million, I got a little jealous. That penny's like the cool kid at school, everyone wants to be friends with it, but don't let that discourage you. If you've got a stash of old pennies, it's always worth taking a second look. While the 1966 no mint mark penny is rare, there are other valuable coins out there waiting for you to discover them. It's all about knowing what to look for. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. If you find a 1966 no mint mark penny, but it's covered in dirt, scratches, or other damage, the value might drop significantly. So, make sure you're storing your coins in good condition. If you've got a penny you think could be valuable, take it to a professional for an appraisal. Trust me, it's worth it to have an expert confirm what you've got. You might just be sitting on a small fortune. Alright, folks, so there you have it, the 1966 no mint mark penny, a tiny coin with a huge price tag of $1.2 million. It's rare, it's special, and it's waiting for you to find it. And while you might not find one of these million-dollar pennies lying around, there are plenty of other coins out there that could be worth a lot more than just their face value. So next time you're sifting through your loose change, keep an eye out. You never know what hidden treasure might be just a few cents away. But here's the thing, the world of coin collecting isn't just about luck. It's about knowledge, and I'm here to help you out with that. So, if you want to stay on top of all the valuable coins out there, hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips, strategies, and stories coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss a single one. Thanks for watching, and may your pockets be full of rare coins and your change jar full of surprises. Hey, what's up, everyone? If you're a coin collector or just love finding hidden treasures in your pocket change, then hold on to your hats because today, we're diving into a penny that could be worth a small fortune. And I'm not talking about some old copper penny that's seen better days. No, today, we're talking about the 1969 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny worth a cool $1.3 million. Yep, you heard that right. A penny that could make you a millionaire. Now, before you run off to your coin jar to start digging, let's get into the details. This isn't just some random penny, it's the kind of find that makes coin collectors sweat with excitement. So grab a snack, relax, and let's see if we can turn your pocket change into serious cash. So, let's start with the basics. The 1969 D. Lincoln penny, as you may know, features good old Abe Lincoln on the front. He's been gracing these pennies since 1909, and let me tell you, he looks pretty good for a guy who's been on coins for over a century. On the back, you've got the famous Lincoln Memorial, classic stuff, right? But it's not just any 1969 D penny that'll land you a fortune. Nope, it's all about the error variety. Now, here's where things get interesting. The 1969 D penny is famous for a rare minting error that makes it really stand out in the coin world. There was a small batch of these pennies that were struck with a double die. Basically, when the coin was being stamped, the die that presses the image onto the penny shifted slightly, creating a double image. This means that if you happen to have one of these little guys, you're holding a very rare, very valuable piece of history. So, let's talk numbers. A regular 1969 D penny? Worth a couple of cents. But if you're lucky enough to have one with that double die error, it's worth around $1.3 million, depending on its condition. Yep, $1.3 million. For a penny. Makes you think twice about all those pennies you've tossed in the jar, doesn't it? Now, I know what you're probably thinking. How do I know if I have one of these rare pennies? Well, don't worry, I've got you covered. First, you're going to want to look for that telltale doubling on the date and the word Liberty. If you see it, bingo. You might just have a gold mine in your pocket, but here's the thing, finding a 1969 D penny with this kind of error isn't exactly common. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except the needle is made of pure gold and the haystack is your coin collection. So, if you think you have one, don't just rush to cash it in. Take it to an expert to get it graded. The better the condition of the coin, the more valuable it is. And now, here's a funny story from my own life. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale, digging through a box of old coins. It was mostly junk, honestly, like the kind of coins that should be in a drawer collecting dust, but then, I found a 1969 penny. It was in pretty rough shape, so I thought, hey, let's take a closer look, just in case. I looked at the date, checked for any doubling, and nothing. But guess what? I still pocketed it. Now, I'm not saying it was $1 million find, but you better believe that I was this close to having my own moment with a fortune. So, lesson learned, check your pennies, because you never know. Alright, folks, now that we've uncovered the 1969 D Lincoln penny and its potential $1.3 million value, I hope you're feeling inspired to go on a little coin hunt of your own. Sure, it might take a while to find that rare, error-struck penny, but hey, the thrill of the hunt is half the fun. Remember, even though this coin is super rare, there are other valuable coins out there just waiting to be discovered, whether it's a rare penny, a forgotten nickel, or a silver quarter hiding in your spare change jar. So keep your eyes peeled, your magnifying glass ready, and who knows, you might just stumble onto the next big thing. Before I let you go, if you enjoyed this video, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more tips and tricks about coins that could make you a ton of cash. We've got a lot more content coming your way that will keep you on top of the coin game, and who knows, maybe you'll find the next big treasure in your pocket. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you next time. Keep those pennies safe, folks, you never know which one might just change your life.